puppet. I don't know how much it's going to cost me though. You're probably not cheap.
No, but it also depends on how you want it built.
Okay, are you starting the stream? Okay, are you starting the stream? Okay, are you starting the stream? Yeah, in OBS, don't.
No, but
You hit start stream on OBS, but the Zoom and the going to have each of them tell you a little bit. I'm going to start with the content curator of Fandom Spotlight, Yali Perez. Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Yali. I'm content curator here, head writer. I'm also the person who does all our social media stuff. So if you played this or that, or there's a trivia, or you've done a quiz, all came from here. So thanks for playing with me when you guys are online. And yeah, I'm excited to talk about the big monkey and the big dino, and they're fighting.
Big monkey, big lizard. We also have Mr. Dan Tabor. Is it Tabor or Tabor?
Yep.
Tabor. Tell us about yourself.
I'm Dan Tabor, critic at Fucker.com and Synapse.co, an Austin-based blog. I'm on Rotten Tomatoes, and I spend most of my free time writing or talking about movies whenever I can. And I'm a big fan of Adam Wingard, and I love the legendary Monsterverse, so I couldn't wait for this one. So
that is awesome. And our special fan guest, we have Lisa Bober, who also makes puppets, which is awesome. But tell us more about yourself, Lisa, and why you're a Godzilla and Kong fanatic.
Well, that universe actually got me into the puppeteering and building costumes. So that is kind of like the leap into everything. But definitely a fan of the original stuff and watching it evolve over time, especially what it is now. It's very unique.
Absolutely. And I'm Captain Kyle, executive producer for Fandom Spotlight, and I have been watching these movies on Saturday mornings and Sundays and just glued to the TV when it was a guy in a rubber suit jumping on top of models. And it was really, really cool back then. I remember Godzilla had a kid. That is not in this movie, but yeah, I was definitely excited to see this movie. I was looking forward to it. And so let's jump into it. And by the way, those who are watching, feel free to comment if you have questions, thoughts, concerns, stock tips, any of that stuff. Please chat it. We have our wonderful behind the scenes person, May Vanders, who does a lot on Fandom Spotlight. You may have seen her in our weekly news roundups, which are written by Yali and reported by May. So it's a whole team effort, but she's behind the scenes. She will be interacting with you guys in the chat, and she will pass on these questions. So I want to go to the expert who, are you really an expert, Dan, on everything movies? I mean, you've been studying them a lot. What was your initial thoughts of this movie going into it when you were, I would say, let's break it down by like the first third.
Well, the thing that really kind of hit me about this film is like the way this Monsterverse has kind of evolved. This is the first film, Gareth Edwards, his first Godzilla film was very much like the original Godzilla film. It was like about this like this sort of dark, sort of gritty, sort of, story about man versus nature, and that was good, and it was great, and it kind of like put this whole universe in our reality. Then you got like Godzilla, then you got like Kong on Skull Island, which kind of introduced some of the weirder stuff that we kind of liked from like the old films, from the Toho stuff. And then you got the King of Monsters that kind of introduced like the monsters, Ghidorah, and all that stuff. And it kind of started getting towards the weirder stuff. And then you have this one that kind of encapsulates all the weird stuff that kind of starts to come into even the Toho universe after so many films, where they just start throwing the kitchen sink in there, because these films at a certain point were coming out one a year. They were for kids, and it was just, let's go weird as you can get. Like, you have a giant monkey with like a magic axe. He's the savior of humanity. You've got a little girl speaking sign language to him. You've got Godzilla, like, doing his thing. And I just like, I felt like I was 10 years old. And then talking about spoilers, when Mechagodzilla came in and then they started like riffing off of Evangelion, and you started seeing like the fight on top of the battleships, like in that one episode of Ava, like my mind was just in overdrive. I was just in meltdown. It was just so great. Like I said, I was like 10 years old watching this thing.
It was definitely a wild, wild fight. Lisa, your thoughts?
Very much a lot of what Dan had to say. he covered everything for the most part. I did kind of get thrown off a little from the jarring difference between Kong's story and Godzilla's story. Like they felt like two different movies sometimes.
Yeah.
Like completely different movies with different universes altogether because Kong was more like gritty and natural tones, and Godzilla felt like it was a smash of an 80s flick and Tron with just unapologetic neon everywhere.
Lots of synthwave in there. Adam Winger's like tour de force synthwave in neon colors.
Yali, your thoughts?
I saw this film as kind of like a bromance film, if you will. You know, they're like just two bros who haven't talked to each other in a while. You know, they've been doing their own thing, and it's like, you know, Godzilla's got his own thing he's trying to deal with. Kong's got his own issue. He's looking for his family. He's got a kid he's raising. You know, they're just two different parts of life, and you know, Godzilla's like, look, I just gotta go deal with this. I can talk to you later if you would just give me a minute. And Kong's like, no, bro, we gotta talk right now. And he's just like, fine, we'll do this now. So to me, it felt more like a 21 Jump Street with a pea and a dinosaur. It was just, the action was cool, but like the story wasn't. I guess the story was not what was needed, because this is like a popcorn film anyways. Like it's just supposed to give your eyes something to focus on, and like, ooh, shiny, neon, boom, bow, crash, so for me, I enjoyed it for what it was, but I found the film more comical than I think Adam Wingard intended for me to think it was. And I, as a parent, was like, if anything happens to Gia, I will flip this whole movie over. So she needs to be safe.
We're actually getting a message that we're getting some stream audio in the background. Why are Kong fans so mad, do you think?
I don't know, because he's the emotional center of this whole thing. Like he's us. I would be happy about that.
I'm finding out if she's still hearing it.
Maybe because he's not like his shoulder pushed out, or maybe they thought he needed, like, it should have been more even of a match. But if you think about it, like, Kong has been chilling for like so long, like he's not in fighting shape, and Godzilla,
he was great.
He's
Godzilla
like
Danny Glover, essentially. Like he's he's too old for this crap. He's like,
you got that feeling when he flopped back in the throne with Thor axe. He's just like, I'm done.
Yeah.
This was like the Tango and Cash of the Monsterverse, and they're like, you know, check out this gun, check out this gun. Yeah.
Yeah. I think Godzilla fought 3 years ago. Who knows how long Kong fought? It's just like, he's tired. He's raising the kid. He's a family man now. Leave him alone.
I did get the feeling watching this movie, I have to say, that the first part was a little bit, all the setup was a little bit disconcerting with the whole conspiracy theorist who decided to, you know, who's putting out these podcasts. And it's like, it's obviously his voice on these podcasts, yet this major tech company doesn't have anyone like monitoring these conspiracy podcasts and saying, hey, someone is like working for us and doing this podcast. Let's, you know, see who it might be. You know, does this voice sound like anybody? Let's talk to some managers. Let's, you know, and the whole thing with 11, I know, Millie Bobby Brown, and her team going off, other than spilling some alcohol, I didn't feel like they had a lot to do with this movie. They were basically like discovering the bad guy's plot. But I mean, everyone discovered the bad guy's plot when Mechagodzilla said, hey, I'm here. And it was controlled by the rogue DNA of a monster that was dead. Okay. We might be having some technical difficulties. So hold on 1 second.
Skynet strikes again.
Talk about the movie. I'm going to be right back. I have to go to the control room.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of the Kid Squad at all. I think they were just there to be like, someone has to tell the people who don't know what this is what it is. Like you
Ellie's
said, the person
attitude
who
change
thinks he
was
does.
weird.
Yeah,
I had like
just,
two sort of things about that because I felt like she's kind of in this same conspiracy role like she is in Stranger Things, but like it's one of those things where she held the screen. She was like the main protagonist of that sort of like sect, which was interesting, and she kind of carried that. And I almost thought it was almost like to see if she could actually hold that, because that's a big sort of weight to carry on the Godzilla side, and she handles it pretty well. I mean, she's sort of carrying that on her shoulders, and I wish she would have gotten a little bit more to do because she's great. It's just, I think maybe they were a little worried about giving her too much. Otherwise, like, you know, she wouldn't be able to handle it. But I do like how they kind of incorporated that. But why is it always the podcaster? I was glad the podcaster lived though, because usually they kill off the podcaster. Like, that guy's annoying. Let's kill him off in the first act.
I saw a lot of Bernie love. Everyone loved Bernie on Twitter.
Yeah.
Can I just say, level 33 not having any kind of security cameras near that elevator?
None.
Oh my god!
They don't even have a ring. They don't have a ring. They don't got a guy who
no scan cards, no fingerprint tracker, nothing. It's just they
should
got
be
on the
back in
elevator.
business. Sorry about that.
No problem.
Worst security system ever in a Godzilla.
There was no security.
No,
absolutely.
They blew up the minor stuff up top, and everything below was like la-di-da.
I don't know. It was actually better because how many times did the humans get fooled by the Planet X people? And they're like, oh my goodness, the aliens are coming. They're coming here to save us yet again. And then it's like, aliens are evil again. It's, you know, they kind of wised up at least about 3/4 of the way through the film.
Yeah.
Too late for me.
So I missed a lot of what you guys were talking about because I was doing technical stuff. Are we saying there was 3 rounds? Because I said Kong won the second round. He kind of knocked out Godzilla for about 10 seconds. And then they're like, I guess second round goes to Kong. If you remember that in the movie.
Yeah.
And then Godzilla got up and Godzilla was pissed. Godzilla has an unfair advantage because he's got the atomic breath that, you know, Kong does not have anything. That's why he had to grab the axe to have some kind of chance against the atomic breath. But yeah, so Kong gets defeated, and Kong fans are probably mad about that. And how do you turn a anti-grav vehicle into a defibrillator? That seemed a bit much to me. And I'm not a medical professional by any means. But from what I understand, most of what we see about defibrillators in TV and movies is BS because they don't use it to restart somebody's heart. They use it to restore proper rhythm, proper cardiac rhythm when it's going all over the place. It's not to restart a heart. So, but if we go by TV and movie logic, who is going to set up their anti-gravity machine so that you can take the power source and like generate it out into like the shell all at once? Who's going to set that up? That doesn't seem like a very good safety standard. Though, of course, they don't have good security either, as I hear you guys are saying.
Yeah.
So maybe their safety was like
on last on the list.
Yeah. It was like way down there.
Way below.
We'll get to it eventually.
I don't think he was gonna die. I think he was having like Padme syndrome. Like his heart was just broken for a little bit, and if he just like, held hands with the little girl for a little bit, he might have just been fine, and we wouldn't have to do all of that. But they just assumed the worst. Like he's dying.
He's sad he lost.
His heart's slowing down. He lost the will to live.
Right.
Name like, this one Luke.
He's just sad. Give him a minute, damn it. Why do we have to do all this? I just was like, this is just to like show, like call back to the thing they said earlier, like in the beginning of the film, like it could light up all of Las Vegas. It's like, oh, they said that earlier. It's like, it's not funny. It was just like, It wasn't needed. A little girl could have fixed them, and we wouldn't have to blow up anything.
Well, he still had to fix his shoulder, which
like a boss.
That was cool.
Yeah, he just backed that in.
That was
that
cool.
was like straight out of Lethal Weapon. You were talking about Danny Glover.
Yeah.
That was Mel Gibson. That was like.
That was very, very cool.
I think if he was in his prime, he could have beat the snot out of Godzilla.
Yeah,
but he was
or
definitely old and
really good
gray.
He's old.
So we are on the side of the hominids or the primates. Since we're like in that family, we're like, yeah, go primates.
Yeah. I don't think there was like a clear. The third fight wasn't really a fight. It was more like Rogue. Like, you know that scene in like Pokemon where the two brothers are fighting and then they realize, why are we fighting for? You know what I mean? Like the twin Pokemons are fighting each other, like the clone ones. And then they like, wait a minute, like, wait, why are we doing this? It's stupid. So like it ended up just being a draw or like a no contest type of situation. So I think it just ends up being like their way of saying, well, technically it's still tied. Come back for the next Kong versus Godzilla. But I don't think that there was a clear winner. If anything, we won, the viewer.
Gia was MVP. If she didn't translate for Kong, he would have gone and attacked Godzilla again. She's like, don't do it. Please don't do it.
He's homie.
So I'm trying to figure out, first of all, they found this ancient energy and they emailed it.
Yeah.
They emailed the ancient energy. I mean, I realize, with 3D printing, you can do a lot, but ancient energy sources?
I guess they were basically cloning how it was made and the structure and just sending it up like this is the structure. I mean, there's a lot. That was like one of those weird things where it took me a minute to figure out, like, otherwise they would have to get it from there to Mechagodzilla and then get Mechagodzilla up and running. So it's like, how do you kind of bypass? I mean, it almost seems like a shortcut, like a cheat in the story. Like they needed to get from point. They did a lot of cheats in this movie. There's a lot of times where they jump back and forth, which I like because like some movies are just about the monster getting from point A to point B. This is like, okay, how can we get here faster? Which was good, but that was definitely a cheat as far as I'm concerned.
Or how about the lady working with Kong for 10 years and never noticing he could do sign language?
With 24-hour observation, they're monitoring him constantly.
No one ever saw him.
Not a once.
No one saw him. There's a lot of I just want to say that I personally didn't like being from Philly, that like the hack physicist is just stuck in some made-up university in Philadelphia. Like, we just sent all the hack people to Philly. It's like, how dare they?
Stellan Skarsgård? Like,
how dare they? Tell him to Colorado or something. Why does he have to be down on his luck in Philadelphia? Like, that wasn't okay with me.
I kind of liked. I mean, I was really glad that he did this, and not only that, but he played heavily against type. Like, did you see him in the stand? Like in the stand, he's like Billy, like he's like the man, and in this, he's like this meek sort of dude that's just kind of trying to impress a girl. I love that. I love the payoff for that. The payoff for that was great.
But why does it have to be meek in Philadelphia? Like, we don't have it bad as it is. Like, we don't need him.
I was happy just to have him. I was happy just to have him. I was happy that Philly actually showed up in there and that we actually made an appearance. Like, I mean, we're way past National Treasure, so it's about time that somebody else came to us.
We had World Z that one time,
which was filmed in Scotland and also terrible.
That's true. Yeah.
I doubt this filmed in Philly either. So
they just slapped the Philly label on any rundown place. I work in Philly, so
I'm tired of it.
Used to live an hour drive from there, so
you get it. You understand.
Well, I still have trouble seeing him as anything other than Eric the vampire.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So,
he's done a lot of weird stuff though. I mean, and he's had a really interesting career, but I think this is like his most different role because he just did Big Little Lies, and in Big Little Lies, he's basically like he's kind of like Christian Bale, where he kept playing the psychotic white dude over and over and over again. and this is his first role that says he has some range. Like you get to see him and you're like, oh wow, this guy can do something other than look mean and like
Really
also
attractive.
sweltering. Like I mean, I'm a dude and I'm comfortable in my heterosexuality, but he's a very handsome man. Very handsome man. And have you seen his IMDb picture? He has no pants on. No pants.
Yes, I did for research.
I
did it for research.
He's got the suit, so it's all good. Yeah, he's it was interesting, but of course, this is kind of like in all these movies, when you meet a female scientist, she always looks like she's just stepped out of the pages of a magazine. She's some kind of model. That's always the case with female scientists. And it's like, I've met female scientists, and some of them can be attractive, and some of them are more concerned about science, and some of them have normal bodies and, normal size proportions. So it's like, they come in all body types, but always in these movies, the scientist has to be hot. I think this was or for the females, this was like, let's bring in the scientist, and he doesn't have to look like that guy.
He needed to have glasses on, and when he takes the glasses off, he's like,
whoa.
Exactly.
It's like suddenly, oh my God, yeah.
You were there the whole time?
Well, yeah, then there's the stereotypical ugly girl who has like glasses and her hair is frizzy, and she gets her hair done and takes off the glasses, and suddenly she's the hottest thing.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That was exactly what happened in my high school. All the time.
And then Freddie Prinze Jr. comes out.
Yeah, usually him.
Yep. Or someone says you can put it anyway. We're not going to talk about that. So Godzilla versus Kong. I don't understand why they needed this primordial Titan energy to make a human-made mech work. They couldn't put like a nuclear power plant in it or something, or 2 or 3. And I also don't understand why they needed the dead skulls of, one of Godzilla's enemies.
I know that one.
Go ahead, Dan.
Okay, so King Ghidorah had 3 heads, and basically the heads talk to each other telepathically. So they were using it as his telepathic powers as kind of like a remote control. But it also worked as a story device, because then you could have Mechagodzilla possessed by the spirit of King Ghidorah, who is Godzilla's ultimate arch nemesis, and then you get them to fight at the end, and then you're like, hey, you get 2 for 1. You get King Ghidorah and Mechagodzilla fighting Godzilla. It's awesome. And it also falls into Evangelion territory too, because you have like, he's almost like in one of those pods controlling Mechagodzilla, and it's almost kind of like Shinji-esque, sort of like, Ava 1 sort of, where he goes crazy a little bit, I guess.
Yeah, but again, for the point of the story, it was really cool.
Yeah.
For the point of my logic, I'm like, how did they know how to build this? How does a skull that does not have any brains left in it, that I would imagine telepathy comes from the brain, not the skull. The skull might be an antenna, but the brain is what actually sends a signal. It just logically didn't make sense, but it was good fun. Lisa, you look like you want to say something, so please.
They definitely didn't put any nuclear power in that, because if they did, Godzilla would probably just eat it.
Yeah.
So they had to come up with a different way to power it. Otherwise, he'd just be like, oh, hey, snack.
Now, what if King Ghidorah was waiting for that power because he was basically using the monster or Mechagodzilla to basically, he knew they would do that. So he was basically acting like he could only run so far because he knew once he got that, he would be supercharged. Or maybe I'm thinking too much into this.
I mean, he is an evil space alien, so I wouldn't be surprised if that's part of it.
It's like, maybe.
I look at it more as of like more of like a vengeful spirit. It was like, I'm just gonna possess this thing when it's ready, and then he jumped it like a possession. Like now it's a horror film because the spirit of this angry Dino jumped into the robot. Now he's gonna get back at Godzilla for fucking him up, messing him up. And I was just like, look at it that way. Like, that's the only way I made it make sense. Like, oh, it's a possession. Like, animals have spirits. They can have spirits. Spirits can possess all kinds of things. I've had a spirit use a toy. It's like the same thing, maybe it's that. Adam Wingard loves stuff like that.
King Ghidorah also has had it out for the Earth. Like, there was a
Yeah.
spin-off series with Mothra, and he showed up on Earth during the dinosaur era and was trying to destroy the Earth then. And you saw like the ancient Godzilla, which was just like a T-Rex with spikes going down its back.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm gonna eat it. I'm gonna kill this whole planet.
So we have space aliens, we have giant monsters and ghosts.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
We
I
got
did say it's
everything.
80 flicks.
You did.
You got
And
all
pretty
of
soon,
it.
the Transformers are going to show up, and the Dinobots are going to actually fight against Godzilla.
Got that vibe
Um,
too.
And
I'd pay to see that.
I would too.
that would be cool. Mary Blondie Angel Sanchez said, "Hi, Yali." Ian Barrow said, "Can you read my chat, Yali? Hi." No, she can't, but I can read it to her.
Ian, it's my son. Hi, kid. You should be sleeping.
He's like in his room on his phone. Hi, Mom.
I'm sleeping, I promise.
Right?
I'm sleeping. I'm sleep typing. So if it were not for Mechagodzilla, this conflict never would have happened, basically, because they started building Mechagodzilla, and Kong sensed that its eye was a danger. So it went to Florida to destroy the eye, which it actually didn't do.
Well, Godzilla did.
Yeah, Godzilla did.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Godzilla went to Florida because he sensed there was danger, and the danger was apparently an eye of Mechagodzilla that was being built there. And so
Then I guess they flew to Hong Kong afterwards.
Maybe
Went
the
through that
skull was
wonderful
there.
tunnel.
Maybe the skull was there. That's because they said it was a big shipment, so it might have been the skull too.
okay,
It's all the
so
babies.
No, it was
he could track
the
down
skull crawler things. I
skulls.
think he could sense the skull crawlers. Then the beginning of the movie, I think it was their initial test, and Godzilla like could feel the energy shift, and then that didn't work. And then I think they realized they either needed more power, and then I think that's how they ended up in China until they could get the ancient downloadable energy. It's like, we could get some good energy at China. And also I think because China probably had some help in producing the film, we always end up in China.
It reminds me of that like thing. Would you download a car? Would you download an ancient energy source? Would you download a house?
I had friends in Texas who were out of power, and if I'd known I could email them
Just
energy,
email it to
I
them.
would have done that.
Just send them a
Absolutely,
box load of
100%.
USBs.
This will get you through the winter.
Seminole Gamer is saying Godzilla sensed Ghidorah. So that's what we're pretty much saying, is there was some part of Ghidorah in Florida, because of course, Florida. Why would you not have Ghidorah in Florida? That's where all the monsters go.
Mm-hmm.
And that without them saving those skulls, or wouldn't he have sensed the skulls before, or did they energize the skulls somehow?
Maybe they jump started it like Kong's heart.
Yeah.
That's what happened. That's exactly what happened.
They went to Vegas, got all the energy, put it right into Ghidorah.
Mm-hmm.
It was no doubt a fun movie. I don't know that we should really be talking about, okay, people, I got to know, tap or no tap?
Tap. I'm Puerto Rican, so tap.
Okay. Dan,
I'm
tap or
sorry.
no tap?
Sorry, Bernie.
What's tap?
Bernie was all about like
Tap water, no tap
water
water.
or non-tap
Oh.
water, because there's fluoride that actually
Oh
mess-
God, that
I'm
was
Puerto
so
Rican.
funny.
Tap.
I would drink tap water, yeah, because I think fluoride's good for your teeth. I was always taught that, so I'm a good kid.
Lisa, tap, no tap?
Tap water with a filter.
Dang
Rid
right.
of that.
Filter out that chemical. Yeah, I drink tap water with a filter myself through my refrigerator. So yeah.
Oh,
So apparently
fancy.
they downloaded more RAM for Mechagodzilla.
RAM doubler, remember that?
Could you see them going in and putting in like 72 pin RAM inside Mechagodzilla and just like lining the thing?
Oh my god.
I'm surprised that wasn't their sponsor. It's like, come on,
Now,
you know
did
you wanna.
Anybody notice they used the same Mechagodzilla model from Ready Player One? Like, I rewatched Ready Player One and I was like, wait a minute, because I noticed the arm length. And
Mhm.
WB just straight up took that model, put it into Godzilla vs. Kong. Like, we just saved ourselves some dev time. Just
I
took it from
never
one
saw
movie
that
to the
movie,
other.
but I
And you're
had a
gonna see
beef with the
exact
design.
Same thing in Space Jam: A New Legacy.
Oh god.
Ah.
The
Well,
exact same
Mechagodzilla is in Space Jam? Wait a minute.
All-
What I know?
thing. Because now, like, the whole Warner Brothers universe is in the Space Jam: New Legacy. So anything
Oh no.
Warner Brothers is up for grabs. You got Godzilla, you got Mr. Freeze, you got Scooby and the gang, Clockwork Orange. Everybody's invited to the Space Jam.
Why they kick out Pepe Le Pew but keep in the Clockwork Orange guys? That's why I don't understand.
It's not for his
I'm
son.
singing in the rain.
Oh my God.
Singing in the rain. Seminole Gamer says tap water sucks here.
Oh,
Um,
sorry.
Gun Pleasure says, and that's only a rental. Wait. Well, I'm sorry. 17.99 on iTunes. Really, is it worth it for on your iPhone only? That's nuts. I imagine that's what it is
Yeah.
for a rental right
Mm.
now for Godzilla versus Kong. I would say euros. I don't know off the top of my head, but aren't they like? Isn't a euro more than $1?
It's almost
Yeah.
like $2 to $1.
Yeah.
So we're talking what, like $36 to rent. I mean, you need to like chip in for like 50 people in one of those theaters and project it on the screen for that kind of money. Come on.
But safely with a mask.
Yes.
Yes, with a mask.
Oh.
I actually saw this in the theater. It was my first post-quarantine movie. I really think this deserves to be seen on the biggest screen possible because I think it's huge and you need to see this huge and it needs to be loud. I think watching it on like a little screen just wouldn't do this justice.
It's $20.08 US. So $20 for a rental, that's a bit much. I was not happy that I had to spend 99 cents to rent Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the first one from, but May hadn't seen it, so it was necessary. I love being a turtle, which we didn't see any like Gamera. I want to see Gamera.
Yeah.
Do
I
you have Gamera
love
in this
Gamera.
new universe yet?
He's not part of the Godzilla universe. He's a
Oh,
completely
man.
different thing altogether. He came out after Godzilla and was kind of a competitor for time slots. So there was a lot of I'm more of a fan of Gamera than Godzilla at the end of the
Oh.
day. Sorry.
Her truth
Flying
come
battle
out.
turtle totally wins against the giant alligator.
See, I was young. I just never realized they were separate companies.
Yeah.
I never knew why didn't they just, get together, hang out, have a cold one.
I don't know how they
Yeah.
didn't get sued to the ends of the earth, but I'm
I'm
happy
sure
that
they
it
tried.
exists.
I'm sure
The
they
new
tried.
movies of it are very good, actually.
There's new Gamera movies?
Well, newer. Like, I think the last one that came out was in the early 2000s. That one was not that good, but the 90s ones that came out, I think 99 was the last one. He just kept getting beefier and spikier and really scary. And I was like, oh, look at this. It's just a giant snapping turtle now.
Juicing them up.
Flies and spins and
Shoots lasers, everything.
I think
they need to do
is
something. If they
spoiling
can
the next
do,
movie for us.
Marvel versus DC in the comics, they need to somehow work out if Sony could allow Spider-Man in the Avengers, they need to work out something where Gamera and Godzilla meet up somewhere.
the Guardian of Atlantis fights the Guardians of everything else.
Well, new Godzilla is terrifying. New Japanese Godzilla is terrifying.
Are you talking about Shin Godzilla? Yeah.
Shin Godzilla is terrifying.
Well, that was made by the guy from Evangelion.
Yeah, Hideaki Anno. Like, he would wipe the floor with poor Gamera at this point.
Yeah. I know Gamera grew his arm back in the one movie, but I don't think he stands a chance against Shin.
Wow. So he's not as chunky as our current Godzilla. Because Godzilla looked a little chunky to me.
Yeah, he gets chunkier like every film, I think. I'm okay
looked
with
a little
that.
chunky.
Like, Shin Godzilla was bottom heavy.
Not his fighting shape either, necessarily. It's like, oh, he looked like he's enjoying his quarantine too. I also got chunky during the quarantine, Godzilla. So
Godzilla's face has changed a lot over the years.
Yeah.
The original one, his whole head was designed to look like a mushroom cloud, because he was supposed to be the embodiment of a nuclear bomb.
Yeah.
So he had a mist breath then, not a laser.
See, I liked him when he had the googly eyes.
Like the ones that rolled around in his head.
Intimidating.
He wasn't wearing a mask, though. Movie Squad was saying, imagine Ultraman in the Monsterverse. And Seminole Gamer says, I want to see Ultraman versus Godzilla. I'm not as familiar with Ultraman, but I think we have a couple people here who are, because they're going,
I'd be cool with that.
He's like a souped up Power Ranger.
Kind of, yeah.
But a little bit less angsty teen. Because Power Rangers are teenagers with attitude. Ultraman's not like that.
And he's been around about as long as Godzilla too. So
yeah.
I mean, he's popped in a couple movies. So I wonder how they would want to translate that now. Because I thought they did a really good job bringing Mechagodzilla into the modern era.
Yeah.
So
I'm pretty sure they have to do he'd have to probably get his own movie so that they could establish who he is. Because like Kyle said, probably not everyone is familiar with Ultraman.
No.
So I could see them I could probably see them trying to give him his own thing, and then the end credit scene is Godzilla going is that Ultraman? And then that sets up the next one.
No, it's Godzilla at a bar. You think you're the only one with superpowers? There's a whole universe out there of monsters you don't even know anything about.
Samuel Jackson comes out of the back.
Jaguar.
Yes.
Wait a minute, Samuel Jackson could come out of the back because he was in Kong
could.
Skull. He could come out like he did in Robert Downey Jr.
He absolutely could.
Correcting myself, it's Jet Jaguar. I always get the names all mixed up. He actually threw everybody for a loop when he popped up in the last video game that came out for the PS4. He was a bonus character, and everyone's like, "Who's this guy? He's not a kaiju. What is this?"
It's like everybody recognizes the Predator and all those characters. It's that guy from Fortnite.
Known Pleasures wants to know, did we enjoy the 2014 Godzilla?
Yes.
I did.
It was better than the Matthew Broderick one.
Yeah, it was. There wasn't enough Mothra for me. It was okay. I think this is better. I
think we
prefer
could
this
see
over
the monsters in this.
Yeah, that's the thing. I could see them.
Watching them fight through dust clouds and just clouds, and we see their foot.
That kind of felt like more of a human story, and this felt more like a monster film. So I think they're two totally different things.
Yeah, the first one was more Cloverfield-like.
Yeah.
We see glimpses of the monster, and then this one was just a beat 'em up.
That was amazing in IMAX too, in IMAX 3D, because it had the scale.
Yes.
They really tried to ground that film and give it the scale. And that one scene where they're jumping out of the carrier with the flares. Oh my God, that was. I mean, it's very sort of it's like the first Godzilla film. It's very artistic. It's about man versus nature. It's very sort of mirroring that first film, which got us to the weirdness where we are today.
It definitely kind of.
Which is why I love Kong versus Kong and Skull Island so much, is because in the first 5 minutes, not only do you get to see Kong, but you get to see him rip apart like helicopters and stuff and throw them around. It's like, oh my God, we got to see something happen.
Yeah.
Now, did anyone think that scientist's brother might have been Tom Hiddleston? Just like he went to the Hollow Earth. He survived that movie, didn't he? The Skull Island, didn't he? Tom Hiddleston's character.
Yeah, I think he
Yeah.
did.
So where was he
been a
now?
while.
That was like in 1976. So you figure it's been like what? And this is 2021. I'm bad at math, so it's been a while.
A long time.
Yeah, I mean, that would explain Kong scratching his butt, getting all grayed up. Yeah, because I would have loved to see Brie Larson's character come back and something like that. Or I mean, you kind of felt their influence a little bit in the movie, because like the one character, his Hollow Earth theory is kind of like what that whole thing started. That John Goodman, his character who worked for Monarch, his whole thing going to Skull Island originally to investigate the Hollow Earth sort of thing.
Which Skull Island, if it had an entrance, why did they have to go to Antarctica? Seems a little.
I was wondering that too.
Odd. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they have to. I guess they wanted to have a set piece on the boats, so they had to get them on a boat.
Yeah, so the movie could happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they gave
Obvious
up and they
question.
helicoptered him.
By Known Pleasures, is the 2021 version better than the 2014 edition? And we are told we are fun.
Thank you.
My opinion, yes, because again, we got to see more of the monsters. We got to see them. There was more monsters in this than not, which
this had a friendship axe, and the other one did not have a
I love that you
axe.
call it the friendship axe.
It was a friendship axe because when he put it in the ground in Hollow Earth, it like formed a Godzilla.
Yeah.
And I was like,
I
it
was
solidified their friendship. I was like, oh, they used to be buddies. Or they
I was wondering about. Like, I went into flashback that showed like Godzillas and Kongs at war and all that stuff. Like,
and then
broken.
The axe is a symbol of peace and friendship. And then
they had a truce, and then one of the Godzillas married a Kong.
Exactly.
And they're going down the aisle.
It's a friendship axe. That's why Godzilla knew to blow his breath at it, and Kong's like, yeah, do that, and then we're gonna do the thing. Like, it was about friendship. It really is what it was. I was like, I love the friendship axe. It's like, oh, it's so cute.
Which that circle of Godzilla somehow told Godzilla up in Hong Kong that, hey, somebody's dialing my number or something.
Right.
Yes.
And he was able to punch through the earth with his atomic breath all the way down to the Hollow Earth. No wormholes needed.
Yeah, bypassing it.
You didn't need a heave at all. Just the Godzilla breath. That's it.
And it's like, and they could see each other. So was it?
That was my favorite part. Like, oh, give me a minute. I'll be right there.
Did anybody else get that meme? Like, what's your name? Ezekiel. That one and that scene, and when they were in the ocean, that was the first thing I thought of was that meme. I was like, wait a minute, are they gonna say it?
They could, they would have. It was great.
Somebody needs to get on that and make that.
So overall, fun movie, but again, I'm not sure that the conspiracy theorist was really, that necessary. All he did was carry alcohol to that control room, and make bad jokes when that guy got. I mean, obviously he's the villain.
Mm-hmm.
I was watching a pitch meeting, and they said, "Well, obviously he's the villain. He's got his coat over his shoulders, without putting his hand in the sleeves, and that only bad guys do that."
Yeah.
So that defines him. That's how we know he's a bad guy. But he got killed, and conspiracy theory guys like, I really wanted to hear the end of that speech. It's like, really? I'd be like, ah! Giant dinosaur trying to.
I think the best joke in the whole movie was when the kids went to go find him, and he was like, we're looking for a guy who buys a bunch of bleach. He's like, this is about that Tide Pod thing. I had no idea the kids were going to eat those. That was the funniest line. And my son's like, what does that mean? It's like, oh, kids used to swallow Tide Pods a while ago, but they don't do that now.
Because they died from it.
Yeah, like, don't do that, baby. That's not for you. I thought that was the funniest line in the entire movie. And then after that, nothing was funny. Like, or intentionally funny, I should say.
Yeah.
May just said coat over shoulders is a superior look, though. So I guess what I should do is
Coat over shoulder.
Coat over
get in
shoulder.
that look, because that's what you got to do if you're going to be superior. There we go.
Excellent.
Yep. I'm also repping because it's First Contact Day, so
Yeah.
First contact.
Have to do that. And I just got a wolf whistle, which I couldn't hear, but I read it. I read a wolf whistle. So where does the Monsterverse go from here? We had the ultimate matchup between Kong and Godzilla. If it makes money, which I've read various things. I mean, I didn't look at the box office numbers. I heard a lot of people loved it. I heard some people were upset with WB because of something about the Snyderverse, and they tried to boycott. I have no idea how it did. Any idea, Dan? That's kind of
it made a ton of money in China. It's like it's the highest post-COVID film ever right now. It beat Wonder Woman 84, which wasn't that hard because God rest its soul, Wonder Woman 84 did not do as well as it should have. But like it opened in China, it did solid numbers. It's been the most streamed movie. So I mean, I'm hoping they make another one, but like I'm kind of wondering what they're going to do because this one was already in the chamber before King of Monsters came out. So I'm wondering like how are they going to do another one or what they're going to do, because they had all these kind of lined up and then they kind of fell off the rails, and I'm surprised this one actually got finished. Because they got cold feet after King of Monsters because I think Kong Skull Island was a happy accident. King of Monsters, not a lot of people liked it. I mean, I thought it was fun.
I thought it was fantastic.
But I mean, some people like just didn't groove on it. So I don't know. And this one kind of has got more widespread appeal. Like more people really enjoy this one, which makes me happy because Adam Wingard gives him some like serious, like he's going to make a Thundercats movie now because of this.
I did hear that,
which is insane. But I mean, like he's a guy who was living on people's couches making horror films back in the day. He made You're Next. He got this, and originally he was supposed to do the sequel to Peter Jackson's King Kong. He was supposed to do the Skull Island version of that, and then they Legendary just like benched him, and then they brought him in for this one, which was kind of great. So I'm hoping either they bring him back or they give somebody else the reins, because I think Legendary's been giving more of a hands-off approach to their auteurs rather than like the Marvel approach, which is really good. So hopefully like they either keep going in this trajectory, the weirder trajectory, because I was figuring either this would kill it, because I saw this like almost like a month before it hit, and I was like, either this is going to kill the Monsterverse or people are going to just love it. And I was like, I hope it doesn't kill it because this is so weird and so bizarre. It's great. So I'm hoping they make more because it's making money, which is studios tend to like that. And people are watching it on HBO Max. People are signing up for HBO Max. And people are actually going to theaters to see this thing. So, we're going to get more, hopefully, in the near future after COVID's over.
Well, a couple things. Yali's a little bitter about the whole Thundercats movie because it's not based on the remake. It's based on the original 80s cartoon.
No, I like the original one too. I just know that the combination of Wingard and the other two gave us the Death Note American version, not a direct adaptation.
Localization. I'm dying on the hill.
I didn't like. And I'm like, if you're gonna have that same creative force do the Thundercats, it's maybe we might want to rethink it. That's all I'm saying. Maybe.
Nostalgia is a weird thing to do though, because different properties mean different things to different people. And then when you have sort of their interpretation of it, it doesn't always sort of like, because people have this weird ownership. I mean, you talk about the Snyderverse. That was like a toxic ownership over a property that basically turned into wish fulfillment, which was really bizarre, but like it gave us a better movie. But it's one of those things where sometimes like Adam Winger's interpretation of Thundercats is going to be what he saw as a kid and he remembered. But then if you remember Justin Lin, who did Gem and the holograms, that was his interpretation of it. And everybody set fire to the theaters over that. But I thought it was good. I thought it was Gem for young girls growing up today. So nostalgia is a weird thing, and it's like a minefield for these directors, because, you know, sometimes they're going to walk through the minefield. They're going to make an amazing sort of like, you know, masterpiece. And sometimes like everybody is going to like, you know, just like set them on fire, because like you think about the Bumblebee that finally got Transformers right, but all the Transformers movies before that were terrible. So it's like finding that balance of nostalgia and ownership
as they went on.
Yes.
I am a huge Transformers fan. If you saw the room I was in, you'd be like, you got Scorponok, Fortress Maximus, Mega Supreme, many Jetfires. We got everything in here.
I'm a Michael Bay apologist, though, so I
As also someone who's lived her life living as a Gem character. Please don't bring it up again. It hurts every time someone brings up that movie. So,
that movie would have been okay if it was called
bit.
Anything Except Gem.
Gem, yes, anything.
That's my thought. Snyder fans, apparently, they review bombed Godzilla vs. Kong on IMDb. Known Pleasure says Kyle Chandler played Mark Russell in the last two Kongs. However, he played a different character in King Kong 2005 called Bruce Baxter. So, interesting. I'll have to check that out. But yeah, as far as nostalgia goes, I mean, obviously the Godzilla films and the Kong films are heavily trading on nostalgia too. So it brings us full circle. And people's visions of Godzilla are definitely very different, especially when we had Velociraptor style Godzillas in the Broderick version that shall not be named.
Japan bought that design back, by the way, so they could murder it.
Yeah,
they hated it that much. They blew her up.
Who did I interviewed the director of that, and like it was like his whole like shtick to get that movie made. When he made I forget what it was, which Godzilla it was, but he made that movie, and that was one of his like contractual things he wanted to kill that Godzilla. I forget, they call it Zilla in Japan, but he was like everybody hated that. Ruhuri Kitamura did Godzilla, and I mean, they've got a lot of guys in long trench coats, but like he wanted to kill Zilla, and like he thought it was hilarious. I mean, I lived through that movie, and I remember the build up to that because nobody knew what it looked like. And I remember when the toys leaked, people just lost their minds because of how terrible it was. Like I remember going to Walmart at midnight to see the toy drop, just to see what the Godzilla looked like, and just being like, what?
I was gonna say, I think, for, like what you're saying, nostalgia, I think that this film does a good job of like hitting multi-generationals. Like it's a new Godzilla for kids my son age, but it kind of hits on the Godzilla, that awful Godzilla you were just talking about from when I was a kid. And when my mom saw it, she could remember, like Kyle was saying, like being on Saturdays, they would give the Godzilla films, and her and her sisters would get cereal, and they would sit down and watch it. So I think it did a good job of hitting the nostalgia notes for all the generations in between this film. So I think it did a really good job of that. I'm not sure where the film could go, because logically, like if it was just supposed to be Godzilla versus King Kong, then that's all it would have been. And then I would say, okay, well, the next thing is they have to fight Mechagodzilla. Like that would be the next course of action. But I think, like Lisa said, I think it was like two movies put together as one, and they just kind of jumped the shark and thinking, well, maybe one fight is not enough. We need something else, and we'll give him a Mechagodzilla. So I don't even know where it could go. I guess everybody loves a rematch. Maybe they could fight again, and we could have like a Rocky montage of them training for the fight. You know what I mean?
I must break you.
Yeah, something like that. But I'm not sure where else the film could go. But I really liked it for what it is. It's not the best movie in the world, but when you've been through COVID and you haven't watched nothing, this is just like a treat. Like Merry Christmas, you know. So I think people had no choice really but to go see it anyways, because what else were we going to go see? So
go ahead, Lisa.
Got lucky.
Well, I think because there's still plenty of villains left in the Godzilla universe that they haven't even touched upon. I think that they put them in some of the background pictures, but I mean, if they wanted to keep going with the destruction of the Earth, then they could do Hedorah, they could do Biollante. Like those are both like Earth
Planet
villains.
X guys could show up.
Yeah. So it's like you've got Gigan, you've got Destroyer, who's another space monster who could come down and be like, "Yo, what happened to Ghidra? I'm gonna take his spot now." That was the film with that guy was really rough. And I think Megalon, the giant bug guy, because Kong went to the center of the Earth. Not I know, but because they went to the center of the Earth, that is prime spot for that character to be hiding and just woken up from everything that's happened. So there's that route.
So there are possibilities.
Beerus. And that's it. That's Godzilla's best bro. Which I thought was going to pop up in King of Monsters, but we got a giant mammoth.
We didn't get a stinger at the end of this either. I was disappointed in that.
Yeah.
We didn't get a what? I'm sorry.
We didn't get a stinger. They didn't kind of tease anything else. I think this might have been like the end of the road if like this one bombed, I think.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking too, honestly, because they had something at the end of every single other film.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is like, we're going to cover our bases. We can always, if it does really well, make something else. But this way, we're not promising anything else.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll be a surprise for everybody.
Crossing fingers.
We are just about out of time. We're at like 57 minutes here. So what I'd like to do is go around and have everyone give a short final thought and also some shameless self-promotion. Dan, why don't you be shameless first? So
I write on synapse.co. I write on Falker, and go see this movie and support films and support theaters, because if we don't support them, they're going to go away.
Truer words were never spoken. Lisa, tell us where people can find you and your wonderful puppets.
You can generally find me anywhere on the internet by looking up Lisa Puppets. I build puppets. I do cosplay builds. I make soft sculptures and props. Team up with a lot of web series in the past. Everything's on hiatus now. But I think if you didn't like the 2014 film because you felt it was too human oriented, not enough monsters, this one is definitely your jam because it's a lot of beat 'em ups at the end. Very worth watching that bit.
And a lot of people got squished.
Yes. A lot of screaming deaths.
Don't think about the death count in this one. Oh my goodness.
I'm just thinking about how much you're going to have to rebuild. You know, how many buildings did they friggin' drag Mecha Godzilla through? It was just amazing. Yali, final thoughts and...
Final thoughts. It's a cute film. It's about a monkey bro and his dino bro reunited with each other after a long time, and there's a friendship axe. And I just think it's look, there's a lot of bad things going on, and if you just need an escape from all the shit that's going on in the world, watch this movie. You'll find something to like about it, even if you're not familiar with the series. There's something you're gonna enjoy. So I think it's definitely worth to watch, and watch it with the kids. As the mom of this group, grab your babies, sit them down, and watch the movie together. And my shameless plug, keep coming up with Fandom Spotlight. We got stuff to read, we got stuff to watch, we got more of these panels. We got Kyle and May and me and Rachel and all of us. So keep supporting us. And also thanks to Dan and Lisa for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, I just, the friendship acts, I'm just wondering.
I
just now want to go up to a friend and be like, this is an axe. This represents our friendship.
What's stronger than an axe?
Breathe on it so I can kill the monster.
It is made from the ridges off the back of your ancestor.
You breathe on it, it turns blue.
Like,
true
if
friendship.
you watch the original Kong versus Godzilla where he chokes him with the tree,
yeah.
He actually chokes him with the axe at one point.
I lost it when I saw that.
That was
an accident. That was an accident. No, simple accident.
So yeah, I found it to be a fun movie. And shameless plug, yes, go to fandomspotlight.com to read everything that Yali's putting out. Fandom Spotlight on YouTube. and support us on our Twitch channel. Certainly follow us on there. We're new to Twitch. This is probably other than our test, this is the first video that we have on Twitch. And yeah, check us out on Facebook, all the social stuff, and tune in. Fear the Walking Dead. You'll get reactions from the governor, who talks like this, not like me at all. And you'll be seeing that very soon on Sunday. So thank you all for tuning in, and we will see you next time. There's other videos you can watch, so do that. And as always, have fun and follow your fan.